Chaje Inje Mudo Dije Ponja Ba Serje Lombo Taure Jimbe Ko Shaje Jabo Chala Chasa Elo Lama Da Gombo Gombe Yangla Chasa Elo Kange Lo De Denye Denda Nyeda Namda Rasa Ve Chinye Jegi Jishi Re Jige Tukara Lekbom Anda Gora Puje Darte Yanla Chuchu Yande Song Todi Angile Digi Tambo Mare Ze Nyoke Dende Rati Saju Tadi Yunde Se Towe Go Joda Joda Juni Jende Dalu Mise Jambi Yapa Umarabazana de Umarabazana de Sheja Tamje Sebe Zebe Tuji Tamye Chile Zebe Toma Lame Shala Zede Jeje Chenra Vesre Tambe Imo Munda Tapsa Kadang Lode Bobe Nawa Lode Kanze Tawara Deba Chunze Dewa Deni
Gombo and Jamina,
Geme Paya
what I show.
Sashi Pishi Chushi
The
Ralinshi Nyete Gemba De Sangye Namda Shendo Jewara Shu Guru Ratna Mandala Poza Nenda Samanda Ayu Semje Nangye Samba Loye Chedai Chedra Ejong Demon Deba Yuje Golo Kordo So
Thank you. We begin with a good right motivation. So best motivation is when you think about not just self, all sentient beings, each and every one facing all sorts of difficulties, but these difficulties are removable. So method is the Dharma. So sake of these countless sentient beings, I must attain Buddhahood. Then I have a right wisdom to turn perfect Dharma to free all beings from these difficulties. So in that purpose, I'm studying, I'm contemplating, and I'm meditating this precious Mahayana 37 practice Bodhisattva. Yeah, so just brief, we generate the motivation. Now we'll come to the main topic. The great Tibetan Bodhisattva, truly Bodhisattva Ngawang Tommy composed this 37 practice Bodhisattva early kind of 14th century. So ever since many schools of Tibetan Buddhism study and practice and meditate. So in that sense, we are so fortunate to see this precious lineage of the 37 practice Bodhisattva alive, and we all have opportunity to hear and to discuss and to meditate. So this practice has 3 parts. The preliminary, we completed the 7 preliminaries. 7 preliminary word sounds like a kindergarten type of name, preliminary, but the reality, the most important part of the 37 practice Bodhisattva, because the rest of kind of 30 verses entirely depend upon the first 7 verses, 7 points. Without the first 7, the remaining 30, nothing, it's impossible to will come. So in that sense, it's not just a mere preliminary, but it's the root of the rest of the practice. In that sense, very, very important. And that we completed. And then the second part is main part of the 37 practice Bodhisattva. So main part, there's a small person's part, means like a mundane or samsari being who ultimate goal is not to reborn 3 low realms, rather to be born human or devil realms. This is a kind of ultimate goal for worldly beings. So that person who's seeking for that kind of attainments, we call the small person's part. And the middle person's part is, sees entire these 3 realms, desire realm, form realm, and formless realms are no other than 3 types of suffering. So there's no point to any kind of virtues. That ultimate goal is to gain happiness within the samsara, rather to free entire the 3 realms. So again, arhatship, or again, Partika or Sharvaka Buddha state. So those type of person, we call the middle person's part. Then these 2 we completed. Now we come to the third, the great person's part. The great person's part is, it's not worthy be free myself, another temporary from low realms, ultimate from samsara, rather I must attain Buddhahood, seek all mother sentient beings. So who has that kind of a heroic kind of a mind or courageous kind of a to practice Dharma to reach that state, seek all sentient being, is we call the great person. So small or medium or great is dependent on our ultimate destinations. So someone seeking short time is the ultimate destination, or middle one or greater one. So based on this, we call the 3 persons part. So now the great person's part has 2 parts. First is cultivating the bodhicitta. Second is meditation. So we completed the meditation part. Now come to the we completed the motivation part. Now second and meditation part. So meditation part, there's 2: conventional bodhicitta meditation, absolute bodhicitta meditation. So right now we talk about the first conventional bodhicitta meditation. So conventional bodhicitta also has 2 parts. First one is the meditative state of meditation, and then second is post-meditative state meditation. So there's 2 things. So we completed the main part of meditation. The previously we mentioned, every single suffering that I and you and every sentient being experiences are created by a self-cherishing mind. Nothing else. Self-cherishing mind is the root, the source of all the suffering that I and you kind of experiences. Then all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva has a boundless joy and happiness. That joy comes from cherishing to others. Therefore, if one wish to attain boundless happiness and free us from this boundless suffering, then we must practice exchanging self and others. So taking all beings suffering to self and give all one's pleasure and happiness towards others. So these exchanging meditation self-other is the main part of the meditation. It's the highest part to gain the fastest highway to reach the Buddhahood. So that's we completed. Now come to the post-meditative state. Post-meditative, there's a many stages. The first one is what we call the taking, what we call the unfavorable condition onto the path. So what unfavorable condition taken into path is there's 4 unfavorable conditions. So this is very much similar to many of you heard at worldly concerned or at worldly dharmas. So at worldly dharma, such as when we gain or success or in terms of materially, we wishing that to success material success. That makes us happy. And when we disadvantage material success, make us miserable. So that's the first kind of 2 worldly dharma. Second one is when we unhappy mentally or physically, it suffers us. When our mental and physical are healthy, it makes us happy. So we adopting happy and we abandoning sufferings. 2 sets. The third is we expect everyone says nice things to us, me, then it makes me happy. Rather, no one says bad things about me, that makes us suffering. So this is the third set. And then last set is I expect everyone praise to me, then it makes me happy. When people despise me, or then I'm unhappy. So if we kind of do everything sake of this ad, we call it ad worldly dharma. So based on that practice dharma, it's not really dharma, because dharma means like 2 destinations. First is take us arhatship. Second is to take us to Buddhahood. When you trap in this ad worldly dharma, so ad worldly dharma neither going to take arhatship nor the Buddhahood. Rather, this ad worldly dharma is one of the main obstacles to gain both of these, arhatship and the Buddhahood. So in this reason, we must know this ad traps, and then we must make sure we not go towards this ad traps. So in this one, we're talking about more undesirable, 4 undesirable dharma or phenomena. So undesirable is we don't want to kind of come across in our life someone take us materially take advantage from us. We don't want that to happen in our life. Undesirable, first one. So this we completed last week. So today we come into the second part. Is suffering. So first I just read this verses 13. We finished the 12 last week, so 13. While one does not have even the slightest faults, if someone were to cut one's head off, still receive upon oneself their negative deeds out of compassion in a Bodhisattva practice. So now, say myself, not cause any disturbance or problems or any kind of issues at all. But someone comes to me, cause all sorts of a headache, all sorts of problems, just small to the big, small things kind of gossiping about you, manipulating about you, disturbing about you, Yes, as we all know, small things munging around, whinging around, disturbing someone's mind and disturbing all sorts of kind of a life. Then biggest one is someone really come with a weapon, physical harm, such as cutting your limbs, even chopping off your head, so forth. So regardless, it's a small or big, because as a sentient being, we so cherish this self, then anyone who hurts from small to the big is definitely kind of going to disturb us, even going to make us unhappy. So when we are unhappy, this is not only this one, how we respond. From beginningless, we respond. Someone disturb us. If we have a power, we take revenge. If we don't have a power, we get anger towards him or her. So that's how we respond. Yeah. So now, Buddha Dhamma says, when you respond such a way we're doing now, where we used to do in the past, none of them are the solution. None of them really helpful. It's not logical, because as a sentient being, we do things, but we're not really logical people. We are so illogical kind of beings. That's the reason we make a lot of mistakes. So in that way, one need to kind of hear the Dharma in that situation, what we're making mistake and how to correct this mistake. We have to learn these things. How it make mistake is when somebody harms you without reasons. As a samsari being, we always say you deserve to say something nasty things to him or her. You deserve to do some kind of harmful things to him or her because he or she hurt you. Everyone encourage you. If you don't do that, you're not good enough. You're not strong enough. People look you down. But practically, when you respond in such a negative way, it doesn't kind of bring any positive attitude, positive benefit out of it. Rather, it has so much a negative kind of outcome. First, the person who caused you harm, you're so unhappy. Secondly, you respond such a negative, that very negative, your action of body, mind, speech disturbs you. So you become like a double victim in this very life. Not only that, out of that, imagine how much you committed negative karma. So negative karma that you committed, if you not purify them, when the condition comes, we have to experience the result in the future lives. So only not just experience future life is not going to expire, because that kind of lead another negative. So we're creating something negative that never going to exhaust it. So in this way, where we respond, such a harmful to oneself. These things are very important to identify oneself. That's what Buddha tried to explain to us. Well, how we respond is not solving the problem, rather we establishing ongoing suffering for not only in this very life, for many future lifetimes. So you have to be aware of these things. So that's not the solution. That's not the way to respond. Then if that's not the response, then what Buddha going to give us? Another method. How can take that misfortune into the path to practice Dharma? Yeah. So in that sense, like when someone out there who cause you trouble, so not just focus the feeling that you get hurt. No, don't focus on that. Rather to focus the karma he or she committed. Out of karma, what he or she going to experience suffering far more greater than what you experience now. What you experience out of he or she hurt you, maybe 10%, but he or she going to experience 90% out of it. So compare this to your suffering that you get harm from him or her. It's very tiny. It's not worthy to be upset. But he or she, what causing the trouble is far greater. So this one need to, that's the reality. One need to aware of that. One need to feel it. So when you're aware, you feel, it gives you some kind of room to forgive, forget. Not just mere forgive and forget, Rather, it gives you room and space to cultivate genuine compassion. Pull this person, try to hurt me, but the reality, he or she hurt himself much more, much greater than myself. So it's not worthy to upset or get anger. Rather, I should be compassionate to him or her. So in this way, when you develop compassion, it's not just we are Buddhists, we are duty to compassion to others. That's not the reason. It's logical. When you're compassion to others, there's nothing to lose, but so much to gain in this very life. And then the future life also immense opportunity because you're planting the seed of the Buddha Dharma, particularly the Mahayana. So because if you study the history of the Buddha, he first entered into the path when he was in hell to develop great compassion towards his hell companion. So in this way, person who hurting me, giving me opportunity to plant the seed of the Buddhahood. So this is the reality. So when you see the reality, instead of you get disturbed or unhappy him or her, you really kind of respect him. This person really giving me such a great treasure that I never kind of gave myself from beginner's time. That's the reality. So you look in that point of view. So if you look in that point of view, then that's not difficulty to develop compassion, genuine compassion towards that person. So in this way, out of compassion, then you're much easier to do this exchanging meditation, such as whatever he or she calls non-virtues they're committing to me, come upon me. May he or she free from that negative non-virtuous deed. So only he or she giving us just cultivate compassion, also giving us actual opportunity to practice bodhicitta, exchanging bodhicitta. So who else can give us this greater presence than this? So you have to really see he or she is the most wonderful person in my life, gave me the most precious present of planting seed compassion in me and giving me opportunity to practice the most advanced practice of Bodhisattva, exchanging self and others. So this way, we turn or take all this misfortune or unfavorable condition into the path to gain Buddhahood. So that's the verses kind of 13 meaning. And then also important to look at another point of view. We as a sentient beings looking for happiness all the time. We as a sentient being kind of looking for where to free us from sufferings. Opportunity-wise, always there to gain happiness, free us from suffering, but our haven't got the wisdom mind. The lack of wisdom mind, we see all the fortune to be happy, we see it's a cause of unhappiness. All the cause of happiness, unhappiness, we see it's a cause of happiness. So that's the reason we're creating more cause of unhappiness. We're creating very little cause of happiness. So in this way, it's important, Shantideva says, in an ignorant person's mind, to have opportunity to create happiness is very rare. Wisdom person's mind point of view, cause to create suffering is very rare. So that means like if you have a wisdom, then everyone out there who used to you think disturbing me, make me unhappy, all of them giving us opportunity to create a cause of happiness. So in that sense, like we have abundance of cause of happiness rather than cause of sufferings. So in this way, you should not take someone who harms you as a bad things. It's a great thing because it gives me opportunity to cultivate compassion, to cultivate bodhicitta, because these two is the true cause of the happiness. Lack of compassion, bodhicitta, we are suffering. So in this way, it's so important to be aware of that. And then also, when we talk about patience, there's three types of patience. First is accepting the difficulties, patience of accepting difficulties. Second is kind of patience, the person who caused you trouble. So we only just talk two, but briefly in here. First, accepting the difficulty means like when we in the samsara, I kind of make a joke. When we in the samsara, every one of us is bipolar, So when we get things we want, we over the excitement. And then when we lose what we want, we always depressed, So our kind of mind is not steady. When you got something you want, you're over the moon. Soon you lost that one, you are the worst, most depressed person. So we never stay in the middle. We don't have equanimity in our life. So in this way here, kind of patience of accepting difficulty means like, when you in the samsara get something that you're really excited, don't jump over, kind of overexcited, because it's not going to last. Just enjoy, but be kind of what I call contented. And then when you're having difficulties, don't think you are the worst person in this world. It's going to be overcome. It doesn't take long. It's an impermanence. So in this way, as a life that you and I have, sometimes we're going to be successful, just enjoy, but not overexcited. Some other times we are going to face difficulties. Don't put yourself in such a miserable state. This comes, this goes. So in this way, always try to remain in a neutral way, equanimity way. So in this way, it helps you more stability in your feeling, your emotions. So that's how practice of patience of accepting difficulties, first one. And then second is, we're living in a world, I'm not talking about physical world, I'm talking about we're living with the sentient beings. So every single sentient being controlled by their defilement. The nature of the defilement is harm self and harm others. That's the only job of the defilement. There's no other job. Job of the defilement harms to self and others. So in this way, when someone harms to you, don't just think, oh, I feel so miserable, this person hurting me. But rather see, person who hurting you, he or she so much get hurt by this defilement, get hurt far more than you, So in this way, you should not be see you are the victim of the person. Rather, you must see the person who harming you, him or her, are the victim of the defilement. So you should be compassionate to that person. So, because a person who tremendous suffering self, who cause so much damage to self, then this person is easy to cause harm to others. So in this way, you really need to aware the suffering of others, rather than literally you get hurt and then you feel miserable and you anger towards him, because you're completely blind to not seeing what he or she going through out of the kind of problems. So these things may help you, give you a little bit of room, how Mahayana point of view talk about compassion, those who hurt you. Mahayana point of view talking about how to do this exchanging when somebody suffers, to bring to you and give your comfort to others, so forth. So this is the first today's verse, 13, verses 13. Now we move to the 14, verses 14. Even if someone were to say all kind of unpleasant things about you and announce them throughout 3,000 realms, to praise the person in return with the loving kindness is the practice of Bodhisattva. So again, this is very useful. So we live in some kind of a world that everyone is controlled by the defilement. So when the defilement controls everyone's mind, we are under the control or under the influence of the defilement. Then it means like we're so much caught up with the self-cherishing, self-grasping mind. So in this way, it's some defiled sentient beings in nature, no matter how huge mistake that I committed, I don't have an eye to see myself. But how small mistake others committed, we have eye to see that, eye to see that. I just lost this one, just one second. Yeah, we have an eye to see that. We have myself committed such a big problem, mistake, I don't have eye to see it, but someone commits such a small, we have eye to, very easy to see it. So in this way, we come from that kind of what we call the culture, you and I. So when we come in that kind of a world, that is a natural, it's not unusual things. When people kind of backbite, and then behind you, kind of rumor about you, telling all the bad things about you to everyone. It's nothing unusual. It's a common in some culture, It doesn't kind of discriminate whether you come from the East, whether you come from the West, or whether you come from some other culture. That's a human nature. We just loves to backbite and gossip, and then talk all sorts of kind of rumor, all these things. So when these things when you heard about your kind of negativity, someone telling to everyone, of course we have a reason to get upset. We have a reason to be unhappy. We have a reason to suffer. So out of this unhappy or disturbance or suffering, where we respond, again, we make a lot of mistake. It's not logical, Where we respond is we do even worse than that. If this person telling me something bad, 10%, now I'm going to put effort, tell 20 people bad about the other persons. That's how we respond. So when you do that, if you look again, it's not Buddhist rule, you are Buddhist, you should not tell bad things about who you tell bad things about you. And then if you do that, you're not Buddhist. There's no kind of Buddha make a rule to us. You're allowed, not allowed. But Buddha says is, you as a sentient beings, you're not happy when somebody says bad things about you. You're right to be unhappy when somebody says bad things about you. Then if you're not happy because somebody tells you bad things, then how could you be happy when you're telling bad things to others? It's the same thing, not different. It's not kind of, it's a logical, So in this way, when you talk about bad things about others, what state of mind requirement? You need to be negative mind. What about speech requirement? You need a negative speech. What kind of physical requirement? You need to have a negative action. So out of it, when you perform this negative mind, body, and speech, you think I'm saying bad things about this person because he or she tell everyone bad about me, but actually you're not really defeating the person who tells bad things, but you're defeating your own happiness, even more deeper level, but you don't see it. So in this reason, Buddha says, this person hurts you, but now you should stop hurting more to yourself. That's the Buddha tried to bring us this awareness, but it's not Buddha's rule. If you say bad things about you are not good enough with Buddhist, Buddha not going to kick you out from Buddhist club. That's not the rule. It makes you more suffering. So that's the reason Buddha encouraged not to commit such as the same kind of take revenge. It harms you, then helps you. So not only in this very life, again, same thing that disturbs you emotionally, physically, and mentally, but then out of that, you yourself, how much you create the negative karma, talking negative things about others. Just think about how much you're going to create negative karma. Not just one day you're going to say these things. Whenever there's opportunity, you're going to commit these negative things about others. So each time when you gather, now in ancient time, you need to be physical to express these negative things. Now there's no need to be physical. This is YouTube, this is iPhone, this all this email. So many, you just write down, just few fingers do all gossip for you. So in this way, how much we creating negative ourselves. Not only that, now you create a condition others to be negative, due to your gossip. You create a condition others to be negative. So in this way, you have to look at a far bigger perspective when you respond to such a negative, how much you're going to hurt myself and how much you're going to create negative karma for many lifetimes future hard to purify, then how much are creating condition others to be negative state. So if you are kind of aware of all these things, then only you're going to calm your mind, it's not worth it. I must stop. But then sometimes to suppress yourself, I should not say these things, it's not going to work. Rather, you need to change your response from completely in a positive response. So positive response is, whoever says bad things about you, look for his or her good qualities. Look for his or her what did good things in the past. Look for someone who has a friend and hear what good about this person's life. So when you hear or when you know, when you're aware good things about the person, talk that good things to others. When you talk good things about the person, you're mentally positive, because in order to talk positive, you need to have a positive mind. When you talk a positive, you need a positive speech. When you talk positive, you need a positive express. So this positive express, it really prevents you to get disturbed. Someone says negative about you. Not only that, they're very positive that you talk about others. It's creating so much of virtuous positive karma. That karma brings us infinite future lives benefit. When you talk about positive about others, you're creating condition positive to others person's life. Just imagine how immense beneficial. So this person who talking bad about you, giving us opportunity to turn my life completely past negative in the future positives. So in this way, this person who talking about bad things about me for everyone, is nothing. End of the day, he or she is best friend for you as a Dhamma practitioner, because giving me opportunity to turn everything from negative to positive. So this way, practice kind of always is important. Instead of anger or take revenge or negative thought, generate the positive motivation, such as loving kindness. Out of loving kindness, talk about this person's all the good qualities to everyone. So this is we talk about unpleasant that you heard from you, unpleasant speech from others about you, turn into part to bodhisattvas. So now you turn into negative into positive. And then also one of the what we call the precious garland by Nagarjuna said, when somebody is talking negative about you, you look at karmic point of view, you have to think in this way. He or she may not have intention to help you. He or she may have intention to harm you, but for your sake, it's important to, in the past, I may say wrong things about him or her. Due to that karma, now I'm hearing bad things about me from him or her. So in that sense, he or she helping me to cleansing my previous negative speech about him. So in that sense, again, there's no reason to be upset. He or she helping me to purify my previous negative karma. So you look at that point of view. So in this way, and then again, logically, it's important. Shantideva said, I'm so upset, I'm so angry, I'm so disturbed because of what she said about me. If you say I'm so disturbed, I'm so angry, I'm so unhappy, Then why you not using the same logic to yourself when you're talking bad things about others? It's the same, no differences. No? But we humans don't look at that way. We think I'm the center of the universe. I'm the most important. So no one has the right to tell anything about me, but I have a right to tell every bad thing about others. It's not logic. That's the big issues. That's a problem that we have to aware, we have to recognize. No? If I think they're not right to say about bad things about me, then I'm also not right to say bad about others. Equally, kind of a logic, So Shantideva will remind us, if you're not happy with what that says about bad things about you, then you should not say bad things about others because of the same reasons. So this way, anyway, we need to, every negative has an opportunity to turn into positive. So therefore, we say we're so fortunate we met the Buddha Dharma. Because when we met the Buddha Dharma is like some substance. When you touch a sand or rock or ordinary iron, everything turns into diamond or gold. So same thing, if you have a wisdom, every negative turn into virtues. Every selfish turn into bodhicitta. So that's the Buddha. So that's the reason we are so fortunate to meet this general Buddha Dharma, particularly the Mahayana path, because we have a mind turn every rubbish into treasure. Yeah. So in this way, we not just think are fortunate to hear the Dharma, but we must implement it. Turn every negative, unfavorable condition turn into favorable conditions. So this is 14. Now we move to the 15, verses 15. Amidst a large gathering of people, if someone find out you're a fool and use harsh words, even then to regard the person as your spiritual friend and show respect is a Bodhisattva practice. So these again very common things. So when you gather with a community, in a community or a group of people or your society, wherever, then in front of everyone, then pointing out all the things you make wrong or make a mistake or things that you do the wrong things. So normally we say, that's really embarrassed me. It's so kind of destroy my life. So you're really going to get deep disturbed and anger. Every bad thing is going to come in your mind at that moment. I'm going to come up. It's again normal, as ordinary sentient beings. When somebody pointed out all your bad things, reveal your secret in front of everyone, it's natural how we respond. That's what we're doing. This is not the first time. We've done this millions, trillions times, beginningless times. Due to that, we're still in a samsara. We're still hearing same things, no differences. If you don't change this culture, it's not going to be last and end. It's going to happen again in the future lives. So this way, now we must kind of think about, I need to change this culture. I need to end this kind of ongoing kind of fighting battle I and other sentient beings. Because if I don't end, they're giving me this and then I'm feeding back them, then we're not just giving kind of what do you call the kind of samsara job is kind of I'm hurting you, you're hurting me. So this hurting one to another never ends. That's a samsara we call it never ends. So therefore we must end. So in order to end, you have to listen careful when he or she disclose your secret or telling negative about you or so forth. You listen carefully first. There's few methods where to not to get upset. Yeah. First is when he or she reveal or disclose your mistakes, think about it. If you done that mistake or not. If you done that mistake, then why you get upset? The person who telling everyone, you should upset yourself because you're the committed mistake. He's telling the truth. So you were unhappy telling someone telling the truth, but you not telling truth yourself is all right, but someone telling the truth is not all right. It's not, there's no logic. No? So first you can look at that way. And second way, think about when he or she telling bad things about you, if you're not committed, then why you need to get upset? Why you need to respond? You should not take it. It's not belongs to you because you're not committed that mistake. Then why you responding it? When you respond, even you're not committed, if you respond, means like I committed. That's how you respond. So in this way, kind of basic not to get upset is, if you've done it, no reason to get upset. If you haven't done it, also no reason to get upset. So that's a simple method not to take in to get upset you. Then minor point of view is kind of a sees him or her who pointing your mistake as your guru. You see him or her as your doctor. Because what's a guru's job is to putting finger my defilement. This is your problem. You need to purify this one. In order to purify, I show you this path. So when Guru shows me my problem, I'm not reason to get upset to my Guru, because Guru here to help me to recognize my kind of a weakness. That's the reason I'm for the Guru. So this person also same as a Guru, pointing finger my weakness. So what's the differences? You're really happy to respect your Guru who telling the truth about you, but then you're not so happy someone who telling the truth. You are discriminating. So in this reason, you must see both is equal, because as a Guru pointing me, helping me to recognize my own mistakes. And then another way, this person who pointing me my mistake is like a doctor. When you go to see a doctor, I have something problem on health. I don't have any idea what's health. Therefore, you go to see doctor to ask, can you check and tell me what's problem in my health? Then when he or she, whatever kind of tools or whatever method he or she may use, and then find out the results, or you have this lung issues, or you have liver issues, you have kidney issues, are you going to upset with the doctor? There's no reason to get upset, because you went there to request, help me to find out my sickness. So once you found a mistake or problem, sickness, then he or she give us treatment. So same thing, the person giving me without, when you say doctor, you need to make offerings. You have to pay. You need to respect. So much a procedure to help you. But this person, they haven't done any respect, you not pay anything, but just doing everything free for you, then still you get upset the person. It's not logic. Rather, you should say this person is more kind than my teacher, more kind than my doctor, because pay nothing, respect nothing, but he helping me tremendously. So in this way, now just think about this person is without anger or without upset, just think about she is so kind to me, because without him or her, there's no opportunity to identify my own faults, my own mistakes. Now I know what is my faults, my mistakes. So now onward, I should be mindfulness. I should be vigilant, because if I'm not vigilant, not mindful of what I have a negative habit, this negative habit constantly going to cause me so much trouble the rest of my life, not only in this very life, in the future lives. So now onward, I need to watch out. I have these issues. So in that way, he or she helped me tremendously. Therefore, I really respect the person who pointed me finger to show me my mistakes. Yeah. So in this way, we turn that into a path, take it into the path. And then also Shantideva says, it's very helpful, when someone out there who despises you, telling bad things about you, then some of your friend or your follower who loves you, saying good things, you should not carry by you are the best person. You not carry by that, because some are out there saying bad things about you. And then Shantideva says some other out there who kind of saying all sorts of bad things about to you, no need to be depressed, because lots out there who says good things about you. So in this way, you should not be a one-sider. You always need to be in the middle. There is a people going to be say good things about me. Therefore, I'm not going to be the best person, because many other people say bad things. When people say bad things about me, I'm not going to be kind of a low self-stream. I'm not worthy. I'm not need to think that way. I'm hopeless. Not need to think, because many out there people say good things about you. That's something we need to balance. That's important. Yeah, you should be balanced rather than when people say good things, you think that you are the best one. When people say bad things, you think you are the worst one. So you should not be kind of bipolar. Up and very easily, down very easily fall over. Don't be, just always live in equanimity again. So that's how best way to cope in this difficulty, kind of a turbulence of samsara. So when we live in samsara, there's hundreds of people going to say the good things about you, hundreds of people going to say bad about you. But you have to know how to live in the middle. That's how we can easy to cope in this world. Yeah. So rather than carry you become like a curtain wool, tiny wind can blow every direction. Then you don't have any independency. So you're always so much dependent. If you're so much dependent, then you don't have any self-control in your life. Therefore, you should not be too much dependent on others. You need to be some kind of self-centered. You need to be some kind of containment. It's so important. Not just blow away in every direction, because people where they respond to you, where they say about you. You need to be in the grounding yourself. So that's recommended. So this we complete the 4 unwanted, undesirable, 4 undesirable take into the path. Yeah. First one is materially disadvantage. Second is suffering. Third is backbite. And fourth one is despise. So these 4, when happen, you need to know how to check them into the path. Yeah. Now, next one is the two most difficult to tolerate, take into the path. So we talk about this one. So we first read the text. Verse 16. Even if a person whom you have nurtured like your own child, nurture see you as his enemy, showing special love like a mother to her sick child, is a practice of Bodhisattvas. So now this one says, many of us are very kind towards someone else or someone else all the time. Many ways, we're giving so much time, we're giving so much support, we're giving so much respect. We really, really take care of that person or people more than kind of your own child, your own family, So and one day, this person, for whatever reasons, he or she or they're not happy to you. Out of that, and then they kind of, or he or the person or people treat you as his or their enemies. So that time is a very kind of heartbreaking, moment. You've done so much to him or them. You did everything, but now they turn into as an enemy, kind of causing you so much trouble. It's a kind of heartbreaking. Lots of mother or father who such gently carry out, grow up the children, when they turn as an adult, they're kind of really harming so much their parents. So that time parents get heartbroken. So in that situation, most time people go into depress because still you love, you don't want to hurt them. Even though they hurt you, you don't want to hurt them. So you get so much disturbance, you get so anger to whatever reason. The anger really take you such a deep depression of kind of a deep depression. Even that depression kind of take your own life. Lots of people take, there's no point. My heart's broken. I did so much of him or her, them. Now how they treated me. My life is not worth it. Then at that point, they're taking their own life. That kind of miserable kind of comes. So instead of that, now instead of heartbroken, instantly you have to think about the person who really you get everything. Now he or she treating you as an enemy. Not just look where he or there or she act to you, rather think he or her, their mind completely controlled by the demon. The demon is their anger, the defilement, completely controlled by this demon possess the person's mind. So when you see that, instead of heartbroken, now you really need to help more than ever before. You did so much help in the past, but that time their mental state is not that bad. But now they really need to help because this person is really in a bad situations. So if I give an example, some patient come in the hospital, not so serious. That time doctor or nurse helping so much him or her, but then one day this patient get worse and worse, and then yelling, screaming, and bashing, and breaking everything. That time nurse and doctor need even more help because that person so going through pain or discomfort due to that, this unbearable pain, discomfort, kind of bashing, screaming, and breaking all sorts of things. You need even more kind of a care for that person. Rather than less, rather than kind of giving up. So this way, you need to know the Dharma way point of view of how to approach a sentient being, or samsari way of approaching sentient. It's a wide big differences. So in this way, it has opportunity where we make a mistake. And then how to fix it. Because we see the two worlds, Dharma world with the samsari world. So which one is the best way to fix the issues? In that sense, we are again so fortunate met the Buddha Dharma. Because if we haven't met Buddha Dharma, we're going to same mistake. There's no other options. We don't have an opportunity to see other aspect where to fix this problem. Whatever we made a mistake in the past, we're doing now, we're going to do something in the future. But this time we met the Dharma. Now it's the opportunity to break that habit, break that continuation, break that culture. So in that sense, we are so fortunate met the Dharma. We have an eye to see in a different way. We have a hand, different way to fix it. So that time is really not just aware intellectually, but we actually implementing that practice. So in that sense, like again, this person who causing so much suffering, who you love so much, but in Dharma point of view, he or she is giving the most strongest condition to practice Dharma, such as loving kindness, even greater than used to be you practice loving compassion, giving you practice compassion, even greater than you used to practice compassion. So in that sense, like instead of breaking your heart, actually it make you extend your heart by this people or this person. So you look always optimistic point of view. The opportunity is always there, but we don't have eye to see So that's just we always miss, and then we take and miss kind of a wrong opportunity, negative opportunity there. So in this way, we take rather we take as a disadvantage, we should take advantage out of it. Yeah. So in this way, instead of breaking heart, even more stronger grow the compassion, loving kindness of the person. Same like a mother, for instance, generally love all the kids. You know, when these kids get sick, mother love even more stronger rather than less. So same thing, when sentient being harms you, you should not degenerate your loving kindness, compassion, rather to increase loving compassion, because they need more than ever before. One need to realize for their point of view, and then your point of view, you must see this is the greatest opportunity to, in a short period of time, to increase tremendously your love and compassion, to grow. You know, this is the strongest, what we call the fertilizer, strongest fertilizer. So this fertilizer helps you to grow your love and compassion within short period of time, much greater, much stronger. So you take this opportunity, take what do you call the advantage out of it, rather than disadvantage out of it. So this is the practice of Bodhisattva. So that's the first one. The next difficult one is verses 17, I think. Yeah, verses 17. Even if you are deprived of resource, constantly looking down upon by others. Sorry, I think this one is verse 17. Yeah, if a person who is equal to you or beneath you, out of arrogance, tries to bully you, taking him with the respect to the crown of your own head, like a lama or spiritual teacher, is a practice of bodhisattvas. Now, next one is someone who equal to you, whatever way, physical appearance, material wealth, or spiritual practice, or whatever way, equal to you, or someone much less than you. Well, so those people who think they're better than you, it's very hard to tolerate, you know. So this is called the ego. Ego means like there's different types of ego, you know. Some they're not comparing to other beings, just simply they measure their own knowledge, they measure their own kind of a wealth, they measure their own position. Oh, I have a greater, then you'll be ego. That's one sense. Another ego is, oh, I have a more wealth than him or her. I have a more knowledge than him or her. This is more dangerous. Yeah. So in this time, someone equal to you or less than you, one day they think they are more supreme than you. Then it is ordinary mind, very hard to tolerate that one, hard to accept it. You think, how dare you think you're better than me? We are equal. Then someone who less than think he or she better than, even more get upset. So this way, we cannot tolerate, we're not going to accept it. Due to that, we're going to fight for it. You're not better than me, you're not superior than me, you know, I'm equal to you, I'm higher than you, so forth. So when you're challenging in that way, again, think about it, what you're going to get out of it, you know, what you're going to get? Nothing, but you get this even more disturbed your mind. You're going to disturb more your feeling. You're going to get more disturbed your emotions. Due to that, you're going to cause so much your physical health issues. You know, so many kind of problems, your reputation and so forth. So that's how we usually kind of challenge, you know, in order to no one kind of look me down, you know. So that's not the that's not the right method. So it's important, when someone equal to you, less than you, think they are better than you, when they shows they are better than me, it gets hurt you. You have to look in this way. Are the cause that hurting me, or something else caused me hurting my feeling? You have to look in, again, more deeper level. When you look in the deeper level, the person who equal to you, less than you, think they are better than you, are not the cause they're hurting you. But we think that's the cause. But the reality, my inner mind, I'm thinking I'm equal to them, I'm higher than them, that very ego mind is hurting you. You have to, we never recognize that part. So in this way, we so cherish this ego, but we don't realize this ego is always hurting to us. So enemy is inside, but we're pointing enemy out there. But the reality enemy is within us, the mind that grasping I'm important. That's hurting us. So anyway, in that way, so someone who challenges you less, they think you are lesser than them, actually a blessing, because that kind of humbles you, destroying your ego, which causes you so many problems. So in that sense, you must see him or her as your guru, help you to humbleness, antidote to your ego mind. So instead of you kind of challenging, you're competing, guru is to help us to less ego, make us be more humble. So in this way, you should respect these people who challenge you, who helping you to free your ego mind. Because when there's no ego, there's nothing to get hurt. It's called often Dharma teaching saying, how easy to hit the target. It depends on the size of a target. If you set up a huge target, anyone can hit that target. But if you set up a tiny target, very hard to hit that target. So similarly, more you create bigger ego, you become more sensitive, very easy to get hurt. That's how we see in the world right now, We carry this huge ego, therefore we need to be very sensitive, If you're not really careful, just tiny things, just one tiny word, one tiny way of expression, way of looking is enough to make us upset because of all the ego. If there's nothing much ego, very less you're going to get hurt. It's very logical, Someone who has a very little ego, no matter how much you offended him or do things, less he or she get hurt. But some other has a huge ego, even do the right things, still they think you're not doing good enough, you get hurt. So that's the reason it's not about others. They are just mere condition. The cause is one's own inner that we grasp, I'm very important. That is cause us so much to get hurt. And then someone come along to free that ego mind. Why we get upset to him or her? How are you going to get upset? Your doctor will help you to take away your cancer tumor from you. You're not going to upset to it. Rather, you'll be grateful, If a doctor not help me to take away my cancer tumor, this tumor going to kill me. So this doctor really kind to me, help come and take my cancer tumor. So same thing, this person taking me the ego tumor from out of me. So now I less get hurt. So in that way, we should be respect this person who reduce your ego mind. See him or her as your guru. Yeah. So in this way, you always now onward. I used to get hurt when people said this way. When I used to get hurt, people look in this way. I used to get hurt, people treat me that way. Now I don't get much hurt. So that time, you remember the first person who subdue your ego. You remember him or her. Always think he is put your highest body of your highest part of your body in a crown. He or she is a guru because he is or her blessing. Now I less get hurt. In the past, I'm so sensitive. I just go out, people get hurt me. Now I become more tough. So who make me tough? The person who kind of subdue my ego mind. So this way, again, look a different way. So that's too difficult to tolerate. So we turn into path. Yeah. Now next one. So now we talk about disadvantage, and then advantage also turn into path. So the next two versus in verses 18. Even if you are deprived of resources, constantly looked down upon by others, suffering from self-disease and hunted by evil spirits, to take upon oneself all the negative deeds and suffering of all beings, without being discouraged, is a practice of Bodhisattva. I'm not sure this one. Yeah, so this time, first we talk about disadvantage, take into the path. Means like some point in our life, I used to be materially successful. Then some point you're going to be poverty, you lose the material gain, you become very poor. And then sometimes you bankruptcy, sometimes people rob from you. So in that way you become poor. And then top of that, you don't have enough to eat, no place to stay. Then almost you become like a homeless. And then top of that, lots of people kind of really disrespect you because you're poor, you're homeless, you're kind of not worthy. All these kind of people look down so badly about you. And then top of that, you have so much health issues. So really, you're in the rock bottom position, So that time, of course, lots of people, some people due to karma survived, others cannot bear the suffering, take their own life. That's the only solutions. So now, again, on the 37th practice, Bodhisattva's point of view, that very point is an eye-opener for us. It's a blessing. What blessing is, now you are on the rock bottom, you know more than anyone else when you're in that condition, what kind of suffering going through. And others can read from the book about suffering, hear from the teaching, see from the picture, but they not experience it. But you're really experiencing now what really looks like a suffering in that moment. So when you experience that very suffering, rather to be miserable, you think, how many out there like me? How they're going to bear? I can't bear. How they're going to bear? So in this way, now you turn this such a very depth suffering, very infinite suffering, turn into compassion. May no one go through what I'm going through. It's the biggest turning around your life. So now think about entire world, people who experience this worst suffering that I experienced come up onto me. And then those people who are suffering, may they free from that. It's the real, now just imagination, you're not just pretending, you really exist in suffering, turn into the practice. That's the most powerful. Sometimes when you're such a bad shape, it's the fastest way to gain realization. Rather, you stay in a comfortable place to meditate and practice Dharma. The most fastest highway to reach Buddhahood when you're really suffering. And you know that suffering into turn into compassion, bodhicitta. You are in a super fast highway that moment. You should not think you are the most disadvantaged state. Rather, you are most advantaged, advanced path in that very moment. So this you have to remember. So this way, the best time to do exchanging meditation when you're in that situation. That's in that very situation. Before that, we do exchange a little bit. It's not really strong enough because we just imagine whatever we're suffering. We're not really suffering that controls our life. But when you're in that suffering is a controls your life. There's no other but suffering. But that very suffering, you turn into the path. It's the most powerful one. Because that makes you the most courageous one. But once you break that habit, then nothing can cause you fear. Nothing can frighten to you. Because you went through the most tough time, you know how to turn over that. So now there's no exist anyone out there who make you fear. There's no the one exists who can cause you suffer. So it's a very blessed. For Dhamma point of view, in that situation is one of the most blissful state. Turn over, time of turning over your life. And then also, just think about it. It's so important. We so respect Arhat. We so respect many Bodhisattvas. We so respect the Gurus. We so respect the Buddhas. We must know every single Bodhisattvas, Gurus, high practitioners, Buddhas begin from suffering. They're not just kind of a listen Dharma in a 5-star hotel under the air-conditioned heater, and then looking at the computer, and then reach Buddhahood. They've been through such a miserable state of life. From that miserable, brought them into the Dharma, and from Dharma, they attain this great result. So you're not going to find one single Guru, Arhat, Bhartika Buddha, Bodhisattva, attain Buddhahood, just meditate in a 5-star hotel. Every one of them been through such a tough time. That tough, so went through tough time. That tough life, make them perfect people. So in this way, Dhamma point of view, suffering is not miserable. Suffering is the most blessing. Suffering is make us perfect. If there's no suffering, there's nothing other opportunity to make us perfect. So this is it. Suffering brought us renunciation. Suffering brought us a compassion. Without renunciation, compassion, there is no Arhat. There's no Bodhisattvas. There's no Buddha. So in this reason, we should not run away from the suffering. Rather, we use the suffering as a path. So important. So that one. Okay, now that's the disadvantage. We turn into the path. Now advantage. Next one. Okay, disadvantage. I'm not sure. I think about 19. You may be highest popular, many people bowing down to you in respect, and your material fortunes may be equal to the god of the wealth. Realizing that worldly fortune have no substance, and these remain free of arrogance is the practice, is a Bodhisattva practice. Now, adventure we take into the path. Means like sometimes due to our karma, past karma, we may have born such a beautiful looking person. We may have abundance of wealth, fame, possession, every aspect we are excellent. life. And that time, you don't think I'm the most kind of what you call the excellent state of life, going to be there forever. Don't think that way, you know. Everyone loves you, everyone wants you, everyone's close to you, whatever. But that very moment, it's important to enjoy due to your karma giving this to you. But at the same time, you must know these are like a dew tip of the grass. Only short time, they're going to melt, not going to last. It's like a bubble. Anytime can blast. It's like a snake that leave the skin. It's not going to carry on forever. So in this way, just no matter how you're successful, wonderful, but still you should remain in a very humble way. You know, just say I'm not different than others. You know, I'm same as others. Then you know really how to enjoy your success. But lots of people don't know how to enjoy their success. When they success, they think I'm different than others. They expect much greater than others. Oh, they should do this for me. They should listen to me. I'm the most powerful person to order what to do to them. So, but while you have these things, they will no choice have to listen. Once they're gone, all these people that follows you, listen to you, turn to your enemies. You know, when you're rich, when you're kind of powerful, you did this to me, and no one loves you. You know? So in this way, when you're such a successful state of life, still remember, you need to be humble. You need to remember these things not going to last. Just be kind of kind to everyone. So this is a practice, just simple practice. Don't carry by what you have in your life. These are essence like anything, anytime can be loose. So that's just a brief one. Now we move to the next part. I think one more, then we stop. Yep. Two more, I think. Up to 37, we have to finish in 5 weeks, so I just rush. Now verses 20. Unless you destroy the internal enemy, hate it, your external enemies will be increased even as you destroy them. Therefore, controlling your own mind with the faces of kindness and compassion is a Bodhisattva practice. So this time I can brief, there's so many enemies out there who cause us so much harm. Among them, the most dangerous enemy, the most difficult to subdue to enemy, most difficult to defeat enemy is defilement, such as anger, desire, ignorance, and so forth. Reason they're the most dangerous is, if you many of us, we hear all sorts of sufferings. Among them, the most unbearable suffering is the hell realms. So creator of the hell suffering, nothing but this anger mind. No other, Shantideva says, entire world become your enemy. How much they can harm you is very limited. But your own anger, how much going to harm you is limitless. So in this way, the most dangerous enemy is anger mind. The most difficult to subdue is anger mind. So without taming or subduing this inner anger, no matter how much you defeat outer enemy, it's not going to get less. Rather, it's going to multiply. As we historically know, when you kill one, then his or her family, friend become your enemy. So in the past, you have one enemy, but now defeating that enemy, it multiplies. So that's not the way to defeat your enemies. So all this outer enemy created by the inner anger mind. So if you shut down this inner factory of enemy, such as anger, then when there's no factory, then protection of an enemy out there not going to be there. So in one thing is from Dharma point of view and worldly point of view. Worldly point of view, we consider as enemies out there. In order to defeat them, we're creating most expensive weapons. No matter how expensive weapon you created, there's no way one day we can defeat all enemies. Rather, going to increase the enemies. But then if you create the love and compassion and wisdom weapon, destroy this anger, inner anger, then there's not going to be exist inner outer enemies. So this way, we have an option. Rather, we create this $1 trillion kind of worth of weapon to destroy all the enemy. It's destroyable. Or we develop this weapon of love, compassion, and wisdom, destroy our inner anger, and then there's no more enemy out there. You have to look at which way is a more sensible, kind of achievable. So in this way, the real weapon to destroy all enemy is love, compassion, and wisdom. When you have these three, there's no exist anger. Absence of anger, there's no exist an enemy. Wherever you go in the world, you cannot find one single enemy in your life. Because the eyes of the loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom, there's no exist anyone out there who has a power to harm you. So in this way, as a Dharma practitioner, we need to recruit our compassion, our loving kindness, and our wisdom. So only these three has the power to defeat our most powerful inner enemies. Once you kill this inner enemy, then it's equal to killing all enemy out there. Yeah. And then, so in this way, Shantideva also saying, once you tame your mind, then you tame entire universe. If you not try to tame whole world, but if you not tame your mind, then you're not taming anyone. So most important, we need to tame mind that causes us trouble. If you tame this mind that causes us trouble, then it's equal with taming entire world. There's no exist anyone who causes us trouble. So this is kind of these verses. So taming existing defilement, general, particularly the anger mind. I think I may stop here today. Time's almost run out. So we have just a few minutes if you have any question. Any questions?
Actually,
Yes.
I have a question. It's actually a standard question, but I never really understand afterwards how people can do it. Especially the last one. If you tame your inner mind as an individual, when I do it for myself, this is so clear. It's not easy to do, but it's understandable. But how do the politicians deal with this when you have the war against the country? How is that applicable to them? Because I have no idea how that can work. What you do? Just love the people who kill all the people you have to look after? How to do that? I still cannot combine these two things. As an individual, I understand, but as people who have to rule for many others, how could they do that?
Yeah, that's a really complex and it's a really practical question. we look at a different point of view. I think only that way maybe help you to some kind of make sense in these issues. One thing from Mahayana point of view, sorry, yes. Mahayana point of view, every single sentient being possesses Buddha nature. So all these politicians who cause so much trouble, they have the opportunity to tame their own mind, make this world better. But then sentient being is limitless. So it's not going to come one day, the world going to be perfected. No one that exists in a single cause of trouble. That day never going to come because sentient being is limitless. It's limited. Eventually we can finish, but it's limitless. So as a Dharma practitioner, we just only do our best, my side, whatever positive possible, and then others we kind of bring them in our heart, kind of wish and pray the world become more peace or whatever. But really, it's very hard to answer for that. It's not going to come the day every politician become Dharma practitioner, then the world going to be perfect. It's a good dream, a good wish, but that they're never going to come. That's how reality is.
It's not, I do logically understand how to see the suffering of the people, the politicians, or the people who do the harm.
Yeah.
I think that the most difficult one is to understand for me the people who try to defend.
Yeah.
How to protect without like building the bigger weapon. Just the example you gave, how, and my responsibility is to vote for the politicians who decide, okay, we're going to buy more weapons to defend, or we're going to not do it. I think I would probably say, please defend me. I would go for the politician who's going to defend me against somebody else. So this is where the conflict is. I fully understand, don't buy a bigger weapon because you just create more enemies, and I can see how it's creating more enemies. But what else is there to do?
Yeah.
What to do?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I always share my thought in this point, saying it's not right to blaming the politicians creating these weapons, but we should blame every citizens, because every citizen say 90% come out in the street. We're not going to fight against each other. We're no interest. Then politicians have very less power to build the weapons. But right now, every 99% of citizens, we so much caught our own business, and then let them do whatever they want to do. Then they do just whatever they need to do it. So I usually say it's the same like environment. So much people go out on the street and protesting. We need to, because of global warming, climate change, we need to stop logging all this. But every citizen say we must stop buying unnecessary things. We just use things we need, but we don't buy more than what we need. Then no one going to logging trees, digging the soil, polluting, because who they're going to go and sell if we don't buy them. So in this way, generous or population need to be different kind of a power. As a majority in the world is a democratic world. So if every citizen take responsibility, then politicians can do very little. That's my usual thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also have a comment. It seems when you try to be like a Bodhisattva or sort of be like a Buddhist, other people come and want to take power over that, or it's hard to, be a selfless person out there. Because when you are like that, sometimes some of the people come and try to undermine that. So I don't know. I think you might have answered it, but I just made the comment.
Yeah, that's very good. Usually I think when we as a Buddhist, not means that we are compassion, let the people harm you. Buddhist not means that, oh, you're Buddhist, you're selflessness. Not means Buddhist actually is the opposite than that. We're more tougher. We stop them who causing harm to others. We more sense of self, because I'm the person going to not allow them to harm self and harm others. So rather than passive Buddhist, rather we need to be more active Buddhist. That's what I thought. As a Buddhist, we should not be passive, rather more active.
Well, you have to do that politely, and that's where, sorry.
Yeah, right.
I recently went after some people and I was not polite, but I couldn't do it any other way. They weren't going to listen. So, I felt like I was a bad Buddhist.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I think Buddhism is first is intention. Second is a method. So intention is, I'm here speaking up. It's to truly kind of help the person or world, not for my self-interest. That's a very strong intention is important. Second technique is either respectful way or disrespectful way. Sometimes we need a respectful way to solve it. That's the first option. If it doesn't work, we need to use sometimes a disrespectful. That's the only way to stop the other person do wrong things.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah. So that's in the monastery. This planner have a big sticks, So because of some monk, we have to say, oh, don't kind of distract. It's okay. Others are not. You have to show the sticks, so the monks get frightened and then they stay focused.
Well, we hit each other with sticks. The other person had a way higher position than I do. But anyway, I'll stop now.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, I think there is always where kind of you can help others, whatever. Sometimes I'm saying when you, as a doctor, treat the patient, sometimes you need to very gentle way to treat. Others, you need a surgery or whatever way. Yeah, there's a different method to, depends on what kind of seizures or sicknesses of the patient. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So now we do conclusion. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.